we've got Chris on technical, Neil on insight, and Steve in the driving seat. It's Talking Formula One.
Hello and welcome to Talking Formula One with me, Steve, and Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Afternoon, all good?
Good week?
Oh, yeah, all right. Not too bad.
Good.
How are you?
I'm halfway through a week off, so I've been enjoying it immensely. It's lovely.
What tidy?
No alarms, lovely. Well, mind you, I get woken up by a toddler instead, so yeah. There we go. Anyway, we are here, of course, to look back at the Brazilian Grand Prix, or the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, whichever one you want to call it, from last weekend. It's a race that usually never fails to disappoint, and I think this one was much the same. Do you agree?
That was a good one, wasn't it? Enjoyable.
Mm.
Something happened in the whole race,
Absolutely.
which is rare to see these days.
You never get it anymore, do we? There was something going on in the race, something going on in the sprint. We had a bit of a DRS train, of course, which you probably expect by now in Formula One. But there was action up and down the field. Let's start with we'll start with the sprint, and it was very much the start of another Lando dominant weekend. Pole position, sprint win, and a very good effort by Kimi Antonelli as well. I think it set us up quite nicely, didn't it, for the race? There was, you had Red Bull, who something wasn't right on that car, certainly for the sprint race. But there was certainly a taste of more to come, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think it's definitely Kimi's best weekend of the year, and I think it's the first time he, on pure pace, outperformed George the whole weekend. I think.
Yeah, brilliant weekend from him. He got that sprint pole, didn't he, back in Miami?
He went back,
but this time
in the race. Yeah, in the race he wasn't much, but this weekend he was comfortably quicker than George. Actually,
Yeah. And it was the Grand Prix as well. Started second, finished second in both. So fantastic. Excellent consistency from him there. The same one too in both Grand Prix and sprint. It was another weekend of dominance from Lando. This has come at just the right time, hasn't it, this turn of form?
Yeah, definitely. He wasn't as dominant as Mexico. Mexico was a walk in the park. I mean, he could have had a cup of tea and a tea party, still would have won, but the sprint they went to the wrong tyre on the restart. The soft wasn't the tyre to go on. I think if he was on the medium, he would have won another 5-6 seconds. And then the race was controlled. I think without ever getting they put themselves into the hole to make it think that Max could possibly catch him. I don't think he was ever going to really, but. By doing I suppose Max got lucky, didn't he, in the race with his puncture coming at the right time rather than having to drag it around the whole lap or pit under normal flag rules. But Lando was quickest all weekend. Friday deserved it, and you have to argue now it's pretty hard to see past him in terms of the World Championship, which 4 or 5 races ago we would have said that, would we?
No, it was definitely looking like it was Oscars, wasn't it? Particularly, I think we said it before, after Zandvoort. What a weekend for him. So, 3 races to go? There is a sprint left, am I right in thinking?
Yeah.
Is it one in Qatar? Yeah. So you've got 3 Grand Prix in a sprint. He's got a healthy lead now over Oscar and Max. This was I don't want to say it was a damaging weekend for Max, but it wasn't ideal, was it? Because the sprint went nowhere.
I think he can now use Max to take points away from Oscar.
To fend off Oscar.
Max can't catch him. I don't think he's not going to drop that many points.
Well, I'm sure if he's to have one person finishing in front of him in the race, it would now be Max and not Oscar. If he needs to use Max to keep Oscar behind, then he'll certainly do it. They're going to see, I think, quite a bit of gamesmanship come out the last few races. Things that we've probably not seen enough from McLaren so far this season.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It was great to watch Lando sort of on this sort of level of form again. And I was getting a little bit nervy towards the end because Verstappen was absolutely on a charge, but second place obviously was on, but the first for the win, probably not.
Lando's performing how I haven't thought he could do all year. I've often said that I don't think he's got the mentality for a champion, but something changed him in the little break after Zandvoort, and he's very much come back. He does look a bit more ruthless as well, a bit more, more together, and he's showing Oscar's completely gone the other way. I couldn't see Oscar dropping this many points in 4 races. I mean, he hadn't dropped that many points in the whole.
How has he done it? 5 races now. It's ridiculous. 5 races now without a podium for Oscar Piastri, and he was the benchmark for consistency earlier in the season. It was Lando who was having these sort of hit and miss races, and Oscar was always up there. And like we've said, these mistakes from Lando, the issues in Zandvoort, it looked like it was going to be a foregone conclusion that it was going to be Oscar that wins it, because at that point Red Bull were way behind as well. But Max dragged himself back into it at the same time that Oscar's just fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
And again, he didn't really seem to offer much.
You'd have thought that he would have had a sort of been a bit. He wasn't quick enough, was he? He was a couple of attempts off Lando every lap. Didn't have the pace. Max, obviously, in the Red Bull did everything after the sprint race to get that car back in there. I mean, I was reading that in the sim, the sim driver was just non-stop. Was just trying every single thing that they could find to try and eke out any performance that they could car. And they literally, like on the part Ferme, they just ripped the whole thing out and started again. They're brand new engine, brand new this, brand new that. Gave him as much beef as he can, and it paid off. I mean, there's an argument he could have won it if they just stuck out and didn't pit. At the end of the day, I think he would have finished second if they didn't pit, at least. I think Max, Max defending is a completely different beast, as we all know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Max charging is also a very different beast.
It was incredible.
Yeah, I don't think Anthony had the pace in the latter stages to probably overtake him. I think Lando would have got him, probably. But again, we've seen Lando struggle to overtake Max on a few occasions.
I'd say the thing that was keeping Antonelli ahead, it was the run off the last corners at Zhengzhou, that run off that corner down into turn 1. He was getting a good exit every time.
Quite often that is the case out of Old Cow Corner, that a lot of cars they sacrifice entry just to get the traction, because they know that if you build they build that 2-3 tenths off the traction zone, you can carry that all the way up the hill with the battery. And the DRS isn't obviously that powerful anymore, so you literally have to be 3-4 tenths off the final corner to get it done into turn 1. A lot of drivers nowadays they set turn 1 up for the back, for turn 4. Is really what they tend to do. Yeah.
No, it was amazing, because you can see the gap sort of fluctuating. And it's only a matter of time until Max does get him. And then on the last lap, Kimi had a bit of a poor corner, and then Max was just all over him. But the traction coming out of the last turn from that Mercedes was incredible. So it was great to see Antonelli defend it and keep that second place. He's not an easy person to defend from. We all know that. It was definitely his most complete weekend as a driver, I think, Antonelli. We saw him have a lot of pressure. He survived that damage as well. In the restart, he was absolutely caught napping then, wasn't he? That restart, when he had Leclerc and Piastri either side of him, he was done on that restart.
Well, apparently he said in interviews afterwards he floored it too hard and he got wheel spin.
Oh, right.
So as he put the power down, he put it down too quick and spun the rear wheels. That's why he was slow away. Catching Lando, so that's what put him on the back foot. But I mean, he defended well. He defended okay. I mean,
yeah. It was the most.
Thought Charlie Leclerc went the scenic route and didn't come out smelling the roses.
If there ever was a poll for the unluckiest driver in Formula One, it's got to be Charles Leclerc. He's certainly right up there. Poor guy, minding his own business, and suddenly just absolutely ambushed.
He gave him so much room. He went all the way around the outside. He was actually content not even taking any, because I think he was effectively setting him up for turn 4. down the straight where he was going to go wide and have the good exit, and knowing them two would have battled it out and probably, compromised their entry and exits, and he would have got one or if not both of them down the straight. But he done himself in, and he saved Kimi from going out by being that battering ram.
Yeah, he took one for Kimi there. Thinking of the rookies. It was so disappointing. You can see Piastri steaming down the inside. And as Martin Brundle says, it's 3-1. Doesn't go straight to the scene of the accident.
If Kimi didn't take the corner like Oscar wasn't there, they would have gone. All three of them would have gone round.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. There was plenty of room. It was pretty naive from Kimi, if I'm honest, thinking that Oscar was never going to go and he wasn't going to be there or even be partly there. He should have. And he got away with it. That's the thing. He got away with it. And Oscar's got World Championship on the line. Sticking, I know that he needs to make them moves, but at the end of the day, it's cost him arguably 2 positions.
Yeah. So, do you think the penalty was harsh, or was it justified?
At the time, I thought it was justified, but that was just off pure, instinct watching it. But having looked at the replays, knowing and seeing how Anthony went for the corner, Oscar only locked up after he realised Kimi was not going to move. He wasn't out of control going into the corner. He was out of control when he was trying to avoid the crash, actually, rather than. Yeah. So I think it was a racing incident. After reviewing it, I was surprised that Stewards gave him the 10-second after seeing all the details. But comes to the point where Oscar didn't really put his nose there. He could have, taken a step back and gone into down the straight in turn 4, as I've been saying. And he lived to fight another lane, luckily, but obviously he was 10 seconds behind, and that cost him battling with Max for second place. And
it's yet another moment of madness, isn't it, from Piastri? We've seen him a few times. Neil, welcome in.
Hello there. All right.
Where are you? How are you? Where are you? What's
at
he?
Home. Human at home. Loving life.
Good. Fantastic. What are your thoughts on the Brazilian Grand Prix?
All right from one side of the garage.
We were just talking about that. Do you think Piastri's penalty was deserved, or was it a little bit harsh?
I thought it was a bit harsh, to be honest. I know you guys messaged in the chat quite quickly about it, and my views differed slightly to yours. I think Chris has swung round a little bit towards the later on after seeing
with further evidence. I've seen the light, as I've just said, but yeah, on first instance, I was like, he's been an absolute tool. Get him off.
Well, he was a tool in the sprint, but I don't think you can blame him for the potential try on the overtake. That was
he was naive. I think with a world championship at stake, he was naive to put himself in the position. I think is kind of as far as you'll go with the blame. I think.
Yeah, I think as far as my opinion on it is, he went for it, as you mentioned. It's for the championship. He went for it, and he just wasn't given space, as far as I'm concerned. The line that the other guy took was basically the same as Lando's, and when you've got a guy up the inside, I guess they blamed the tyre smoke from when he locked up a little bit. But even with the lockup, he still made the apex. So it's not as if he was so out of control that he went wide. He had to add the extra brake pressure on because he was given no room whatsoever. Even Leclerc put the blame on him. So
I think, having again, because I jumped in the chat quite quickly and I was quite open with my opinion. But I think having reviewed it, I think it was a harsh penalty because he then saw Kimi turn in.
Yeah.
Realistically, like you say, there's nowhere for him to go, and he's got a world championship on the line, which this could have just been.
Do you think how far Charles was out wide? Because when they done the replay of it, and all three are next to each other, equal spaces, and then suddenly Kimi just cut straight to the inside. Do you think if Piastri done a bit of a max and banzaied up, because the only thing against Piastri was the fact that he didn't completely come off the brakes, brake as late as the others, and get to the apex wheel to wheel, mirror to mirror sort of thing. Because that's the only thing against him.
Do you think that the 10-second penalty was for Leclerc being put out of the race? If Leclerc
100%, that's it.
didn't get touched, if he was okay and carried on, I think they wouldn't have done anything. I think, but I think because Leclerc was his race was ruined and he was out of the race, that they maybe felt that they had to put a punishment on someone, and as Oscar was the instigator and the cause of the dominoes, effectively.
Yeah. Well, you think if you had anyone else in the middle there that would have given the correct space, it wouldn't have happened that way.
Yeah, but you could argue that under the rules that it was Kimi's corner.
Yeah, I guess. If you're doing the ridiculous wing mirror alongside, if you're not got that, then it's not your corner. Then you're 100% right. That's how it's written down. But
I personally think that they should change it. Whoever reaches the apex first is irrelevant if you because you could argue that Oscar reached the apex first in some respects, but
yeah,
the rule of being up.
I just don't see how you can have a rule that I can turn in on a corner fully well knowing there's someone beside me. That's just stupid. Because
or you create a rule where it's obviously because the wing mirrors are as much use as a paper bag in the rain, that you then decide that the car that is doing the overtake is in pure control, and if any contact is made, then it is the overtaking car's fault, because they have the whole vision of the scenario rather than the one being overtaken, who obviously can only see 90 degrees.
Yeah, I just bar being in a Max situation where he just would have been completely off the brakes and up the inside, and then we'd be mopping up a situation because he wouldn't likely have made the apex as tight.
But this is the thing.
If he was further up.
Yeah, if Max did that overtake, I think Max would have made it, because Max is so much later on the brakes, like Lewis, than a lot of people. I think that if Oscar isn't that kind of driver where he's last of the late breakers, we know Max is very much last of the late breakers. So if Oscar because he lifted then broke.
Yeah, the thing that really didn't help was because he was tight up. You couldn't be any more on that inside. He was so far towards the
Toretto in the wall, but
yeah, not as tight as that. You think if he had have squeezed further up towards the right, squeezed Kimi up over towards Charles, so he would have a better angle into the corner. He would have been able to brake later.
But talking of Bortoleto, first Brazilian on the grid since Felipe Massa in 2017. A lot of expectation on his shoulders, and it was a DNF followed by a DNF. Weekend to forget for him.
He got strolled in the race, didn't he? Was it a race?
Yeah, strolled.
Yeah, he got Lance strolled.
He did. I don't think Stroll expected him to be there, because suddenly there was a car on his outside as he was moving over.
Yeah, I do. I'm not really blaming Lance Stroll. It's just funny that Lance Stroll seems to always have something.
It's not even his fault. He just finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Did you see Bortoleto's crash in the sprint race at the end? Woo.
Yeah.
That was...
Close your DRS, boys. Close your DRS.
Yeah, battling Albon. Apparently that's what put Albon down, because he ran into debris.
Yeah. He ran over the wing, didn't he? He ran over the wing, and effectively, half the car was not on the ground.
It's ridiculous. So he's not even caused the crash or been a part of a crash, and he still gets affected by it. Yeah, that's just Williams' luck. But there we go. Yeah, awful accident for Bortoleto in the sprint. So, it's great to see him just walk away.
Brazilians never have a good race there, do they? I mean, you think back to Massa. Massa on many occasions had a shocker, and no more shocking than the 2008 one, obviously. But
he still won it. But
how did Rubens go around there?
He didn't. Massa won that race, but it was a shocker because obviously he didn't win the world title. But he had a few stinkers there. Rubens, I think, always had a stink, didn't he?
Massa won it a couple of times.
Is that the
08,
season
he won it in
Massa's
06.
still going to court about, China?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barrichello, I remember him. He got pole there in the Brawn, but then he had a problem during the race, I think, and he dropped back, which just summed up his Brazilian Grand
Bruno
Prix.
Senna never did much there.
Bruno Senna was awful. He had his uncle as well, who I think had slightly more success at the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Of course. Brazilians of recent times, shall we say, have been pretty woeful around there. But great to see him okay after that crash. That was a hell of a shunt.
That was a
shame to
big
see
one.
him out. Yeah, shame to see him out so soon on his home Grand Prix as well. But it was a disaster for him. It was also a disaster for the Scuderia. A double D, the only two cars not to finish the race, and they were both Ferrari. Charles Leclerc, obviously, just having Charles Leclerc luck by the looks of it. But Lewis Hamilton, poor race from him again. He's been saying he's been living in, or it's been a nightmare he's been living in. And did you see the Ferrari chairman's comments? Was it John Elkann?
Yeah. He basically told him to basically say less to the media, knuckle down and get on with the job because everyone else is doing their part, but you're not, is basically what it came out as.
What is the problem with this Ferrari? With Ferrari, it's like, no, the car can't be the problem. It's the drivers are talking too much.
Didn't he look to their success in endurance? So it must be.
Must need 3 drivers in the car then.
Yeah,
that's it. Get Fisichella back.
But the funny thing is that there wasn't it wasn't Ferrari hypercar that won Le Mans this season, was it? It was the customer car. It was the privateers. So
yeah, and the funny thing is, I saw the comments from John Elkann, the Ferrari chairman, who said the drivers need to talk less. And Jenson Button, now recently retired, of course, from motorsport, had his final race. Said that maybe he should lead by example. Oof, go on, JB. Say it like it is, because it's ridiculous. This culture at Ferrari just seems to be.
It's nearly 20 years since their last championship. There's only, they've been through drivers, they've been through team principals, they've been through engineers. There's something wrong.
This is ridiculous at Ferrari. It's gone from being beyond the joke now to being really annoying. I love Ferrari. I'm obviously Williams, but I love Ferrari. And you look at the drivers that have come and gone since Kimi Raikkonen won in 2007. Kimi's had a second stint there, but you've had Charles Leclerc, you've got Lewis, you've had Sebastian Vettel, you had Fernando Alonso.
That's the thing. Someone mentioned that Alonso had come out and he knows a winning team and a winning setup, and he didn't divulge into exactly what it was, but he said that there was something amiss in Ferrari that's why he left, basically. He knew they weren't a winning formula.
It's annoying because every so often they'll come up with a car which can get them some race wins, but it's never on the level that you'd expect.
Not this season so far.
Not this season. But,
they're trying for second in the constructors and they can't even win a race.
That's awful. 2022, they had the best car at the start of the season and it all fell apart and it was unreliable. That 2019, sorry, they had a car with a certain engine, but they've always been one or two behind. They've always been second fiddle to Mercedes when it was Sebastian Vettel. It's been second to Red Bull when it was Charles Leclerc, and now you've got probably one of the most exciting driver lineups on the grid with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. One can't even get on the podium, and the other one, apart from having terrible luck, just can't get a tune out of that car. A few podiums, but what is going on? It's miserable with Ferrari right now.
Yeah, they're shite, mate. They're shite. I mean, Elias was a bit all right. He's alluded to the you can't get the tyres in the temperature in the window for qualifying, can he? Which he struggled at Mercedes as well. This generation of car, he struggles to get the tyre temps in the right window to get the optimum for him.
Yeah,
and the race was, it was the Colapinto incident was a bit amateurish, wasn't it? Really, going in the back of him, coming up the straight.
I was going to say that's a move that you do not expect from someone of Lewis Hamilton's caliber.
Caught his wing under his floor, and that absolutely ruined his floor, and that ruined his race. But I think his race was ruined. before that.
Yeah, it's when I saw Lewis Hamilton with no front wing, he's been caught up in something or spun it somewhere. But just seeing on
But
the entrance to the pits as well, so we can't even dive in.
But his start obviously was the issue, wasn't it? So
Steve's got a happy child.
Just going to mute myself as much as I can right now. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, awful. He's got a very happy boy this evening. Yeah, it was shocking from Ferrari. It really was. But this weekend overall has just sort of cemented that Lando, different type of circuit. You know, he's still the one to beat. He had the pressure, but he's got it. So I think this is the weekend. I know we've got, like we said earlier, 3 Grand Prix and a sprint to go, but this has got to be, if not the final, maybe the penultimate nail in the coffin for Piastri now, do you think?
It was a few weeks ago I mentioned the fact that certain fans have said that McLaren have basically made Lando the favourite, the chosen for this championship, which I think is a little bit harsh.
I don't know how you can say that though. I don't know how people can say that because it's not. You know, Oscar's done things wrong himself. You know, he's not been quick enough for a start, and he's in the wall. He's made mistakes.
That's of late. It was when they were both really pushing for each one was getting the wins, and then McLaren were chiming in and going, "Oh, let this one through because this has happened." Especially, was it the pit stop that went wrong? That's the big one that stands out.
They always alluded back to Hungary, didn't they? When Lando gave Oscar the win last season. I know obviously it didn't particularly make much difference last season, but they always alluded to, he gave you the race win.
So I'm just going to keep one earphone in and one earphone out so I can hear when he screams.
So it's a little bit of that going on, but as you've mentioned of late, Piastri doesn't even remotely deserve it. He's gone from being absolutely unstoppable to, is this the same guy? It's just nowhere at the moment.
It's crazy because I was looking on, like we said earlier, he was like the mark of consistency earlier in the year, and his results. Right, that's the game. I don't care about the game. Since Monza have just been absolutely atrocious. He was on the podium virtually every Grand Prix at the start, up until Azerbaijan. He was on the podium in every race bar 2. And since then, it's just gone completely off the boil. Since Azerbaijan retired 4th, 5th, 5th. Yeah, well, Norris has been 3rd, 2nd, 1st. And he's just opened up his gap. So he's now 24 points clear in the championship, which is a healthy buffer because, realistically, you'd thought that those two would be fighting for 1st and 2nd. He's only going to lose a handful of points each time if he does finish 2nd to Oscar in every race. But that's not what's likely.
They both have to use Max, don't they? They both have to use Max in their own different ways.
Yeah, it was mentioned now that Lando, from here on out, he doesn't have to win another race. He can just come 2nd.
Yeah. And do you think this could play into Max's hands? He thinks, hang on a minute. He's a clever guy. He knows how to push things. He knows how to work things. If we think, okay, so the McLaren's going to be focused on taking them out. This could work to my advantage if he sort of gets in the way of it and he can muck it up. He'll know that they'll be trying to use him. Of course, shamefully, the most heartbreaking news to come out of the weekend was that George Russell is now mathematically no longer viable for this championship. So that I had all my eggs in that basket. Just hoping of a surprise, But yeah,
with mentioning Mercedes and obviously Kimi with his first corner shenanigans, do you believe the things that have been mentioned within Mercedes that this has been a bit of a poor season from him? What were they expecting him to come out and be like Lewis was for his first season?
No, I think it's been okay. He only had a season in an average F2 car. He's I think he's been all right. He's got better. He's shown flashes. I think next, as like we said, with like Oscar in there, it's all about the second season. That he's done enough, and then next season is where he needs to be. Like this weekend, beating George regularly on pace, rather than just sort of lucking in. So I think he's been all right. I don't think there's any. He's had moments, but he's not 19, isn't he? So
yeah. And I think the most thing out of this is that thanks to Alex now not scoring points in 5 races, I think that's pretty much put to bed who finishes ahead in the championship, if Alex Albon or Kimi Antonelli. That was a battle I didn't expect to see, to be honest with you, at the start of the season. Since Carlos's podium in Azerbaijan, they've scored 1 point. So it's good.
You started well and it's sort of slid downhill.
They've all gone all in on next year, haven't they? Well, we'll see if that backfires. I am going to be pissed off. But there we go.
There's going to be a few teams that are a bit that way, though, because there can only be a few that are one on top and the rest have to fight for what's left.
I really hope Alonso and Aston Martin have got this for next year. I really do. Just to get a couple of wins, for God's sake. That's all I want. But there we go.
Stay on if they get a quick car, mate.
Yeah. We'll see. He'll be racing when he's 50. When was the last time that happened? It's probably back in the 50s, isn't it? They had a 50-year-old F1 driver.
Well, he's got nothing else but racing. That's the thing. He doesn't have any family particularly. He's just a racer. Just goes racing.
Dedicated.
Well, Lance has got no one to push him out of that team, so he'll be going until the end of time.
His dad's locked him in the cockpit and thrown away the key.
Dad, please, I want to go. Nope.
They ship him around in the chassis. They ship him around in the chassis so he can't leave it.
Doesn't even get out of the car. Dad, I need a wee. Nope. Well, that brings us to the end of our show this week. So thank you very, very much for watching. We will be back next week, of course, looking ahead to... Is it Qatar next? No, it's Vegas, isn't it?
Vegas, 4 a.m. start.
Yeah, 4 a.m. start, Las Vegas.
Because the cricket's on at the same time. But
who do you guys think is going to go well? Because McLaren have said this isn't a track for them.
I think Red Bull are going to go well here.
I think it'll be Red Bull, McLaren, and then Posse and Mercedes will turn up if it's.
So Max to revive his, championship chances.
Max to win, Lando second, Oscar third. Why not? Oscar back on the podium.
Oscar's got to win it. That's as simple as that. He can't. I don't think he can walk away from Vegas unless Lando DNS. I don't think he can walk away from Vegas without a win and think he's. I think he has to win with Lando. Definitely either minimum second, see third or fourth, preferably for him, or DNF. But yeah, he has to win. I think next week to even. Definitely. If he finishes behind Lando, I think that's game over.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there we go. We'll see you next week. Have a great week. Enjoy the race. The race is. There we go. We'll be looking ahead to it next week. We shall. Vegas. Oh, so much cheese. There we go. Enjoy your week. To take care. I've been Steve. He's been Chris. He's been Neil. We'll see you then. Cheers.